So I was working really hard on my trading and improving for 2 months before this holiday that I went on. And they were like really hard working, and I decided I'd go on a month long holiday, go back to my home, see my family. And what happened was I it just didn't end up as I wanted it to, and I learned a lot from it in the fact how to take a holiday from trading, or how to trade on holiday even. And so what I'm firstly going to say is going on holiday is great, because you need to look forward to relaxing and to like enjoy the fruits of your labor. You know, you've been working really hard, you want a little relaxation, and you want to maybe trade on holiday as well, and you just want to like make sure that you continue working whilst relaxing, and then you can come back into the trenches straight after. Now, the key about holiday time is when you're outside of holiday time, is that you're on 100% grind. You're on monk mode lifestyle all the time, so that you're able to really hone your power and your ability to make generational wealth, to change the trajectory of your bloodline. Okay, so what I want to talk about is my experience of trading on holiday, and how I am going to improve this in the future, and what you guys want should avoid as well, to make sure that we continue compounding even when we do have a relaxing period of holiday time, which is really a necessity to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and to really just not be some sort of robot or something. It's we're on 100% grind mode. We're really pushing our productivity, and sort of in a robotic way, but also we're human at the end of the day. Okay, so this is what I want to say about my experience, is that I took a month long holiday. I went to London. I smoked. I drank a little bit, and I was still very much continuing my momentum of that 2 month work really hard that I did. And I moved into the holiday time, and what actually happened was I actually traded the best I've ever traded. I actually went into holiday mode, and I ended up making 50%. Not in the first week. The first week took a little bit of time to adapt into that holiday time, because it is really a big shock to the system when you're working really hard and then suddenly you're like allowed to relax. It's like very strange. So the first week didn't really happen much. I think I went down 5% or something. Then the next week I captured an amazing trade. I was aloof, I was nonchalant, I was following my strategy, everything was going well, and I caught the best trade that it was the best trade of the week, and I got 50% in 6 hours or something, and something incredible. Perfect risk, maybe risking 2% or something to make 50%. It was nuts, absolutely crazy. 25 risk to reward, something crazy. So that was going really well. The momentum was continued forward from my meditation every day, my gratitude, my waking up at a certain time, following a routine. And what happened was that momentum just continued on, obviously, because I was making good gains. The next week I then made 10%. It was still going well. And then by week 3, then I started seeing a decrease in, I was down 5%. And then the next week I was down 5%. And by the last week of my holiday, I was kind of fearful to trade. I'd been down 5% that week, down 5% the week before, and made such a large amount the week before that I was like, I was a bit fearful to lose anymore, and yeah, it was all great until week 3, where I basically dropped my discipline. Now, what happened was, so after 2 weeks, my discipline plateaued. It went down, and there was just it just started declining after 2 weeks. And what happened is about 2.5 weeks actually. And so when you're going down, you then need to sort of, as you're going down, you then have to get back up. So by week 4, I was at this bottom, and I knew that I needed to get back up. I'd been working very hard. I'd seen results. And so I then have to get back into this discipline, and that takes another week. It's taken me another week to get back into this discipline. And the first week back, I've lost like 10%, because I've been struggling to actually continue this discipline, this momentum that I hadn't had in the past 2 weeks. because I dropped my discipline. Okay, so really the lesson from this that I want to talk about is that 2.5 weeks, I've put 2.5 weeks, I would say 2 weeks, but it took me 2.5 weeks to really start plateauing. And I think 2.5 weeks is really the maximum holiday that we can have as traders before our discipline starts to fall off. We start getting a bit more comfortable, and every day we're trying to improve, constantly improve. And so we're wanting to not fall into that comfort zone again. Yeah, because the comfort zone, you just smoke, you just enjoy yourself, you want to just relax, lie in, all these things that we were like before we started trading. Okay, so what we want is to have, after 2.5 weeks, it gives us time to pick up our momentum and our discipline and continue winning again, compounding that success. And after 2.5 weeks, that's the perfect time. 2.5 weeks holiday, and like maximum, before we can then just sort of, as it starts plateauing, we pick it up, and we may be not trading at our best for maybe 3 days or so. We're just getting back into the grind, into the groove. Yeah. So this is the perfect amount of time, as opposed to going, let's say, 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, where we spend that time going downhill. After it plateaus, we still go down a little bit. And then when we hit that parts where we're like, okay, now we need to start back up again, rev the engines, we then spend that time going back up, finding our discipline, finding our ability to get back into that winning mode, that winning mindset. Yeah. So this was lessons from my holiday, where I found that 1 month holiday was impossible, and I'm never going to do that again, never. 2 weeks is my perfect time, and what we want to do is just make sure that we're still finding that groove after 2 weeks, so that we can continue winning and feeding our family, compounding our growth, generational wealth, you see. And maybe you're only dealing with a small amount of money, but there's no difference. It's all relative to how, when we're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, we'll be ready for that. That's what we want to be. We want to be ready for anything. And then we can just, once we understand this routine at a younger age, at a younger experience in the market, then when we just continue on, it's just going to be like clockwork. We just go into the groove. We know exactly how to have a holiday, what's too much. We get to know ourselves more, and that's exactly what it's about. Psychology is 100%. Trading is 100% psychology. The strategy, of course, it matters, of course, but once you achieve that, everything is just psychology. It's about being in that mindset, that winning mode, that way that we can just continue just winning and understanding the risk that we're managing and all these calculations, understanding the fundamental environment, making sure that we are reading this insane price action and following the trend appropriately with the sweeps of the liquidity, the rejections, etc. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Just focus on winning, and also holidays aren't bad, but over 2.5 weeks holiday that's when things start, you start losing momentum, and getting that momentum back is really difficult, and that will be a dangerous point where we start losing. And we don't want to be losing. We want to be winning. And so that's my message, is that we want to keep winning and just keep being bosses, and making your family proud and making your future generations think, big up granddad, he's sorted us out, he's paid for our education, he's got food on the table, a roof over our heads. And so that's what it's about. So keep being bosses, keep winning, and one love. Yeah, come on.